So this is a cautionary tale in why not to buy cheap eBay pattern parts. This is a drop link off my X-Type, and this has been on my car for less than 2 months. You can see how badly corroded it is. Can you also see here that the boots have split through there, the boots have pulled out through there. This is corroded, and in fact this is just a very inferior part. Now the company I bought it off replaced it immediately, and the new ones that came have failed within 2 days. What I should have done is bought good quality original equipment style replacement parts, which is what I've now done, and this is the difference. This is made by a company called Q-Drive, a big manufacturer, and you should be able to see that it has a plastic insert on the back. It's all properly wired in. This is all sunk in. This also here has a flat on this part so that you can get a spanner on it to do it up tight. The end of the drop link that goes into the suspension arm has this large plate welded onto it. It's necessary to have this because if you don't, it will rattle like hell, which is exactly what's been happening. If I bring them together, you can see that they don't really match up. The good one is very much heavier and better made and a bigger component, which makes you think that means that this one, when it's actually in the car, is not in the correct alignment, and no wonder it's destroyed itself. This cost me £17, and when they come with plastic covers on them, these covers which you have to remove, and these are actually marked up as having been manufactured in December 2015. I've already done a video on how to change the anti-roll bar bushes and how to get the drop links off, so I'm not going to go through that again, but it's just to show you that the car is now jacked up. It's blocked at either end so that the anti-roll bar is level just as it would be on the ground, and then what I need to do is I need to take off the 2 brackets, one there and one there. And what I did before is I've actually changed the bolts to hex head bolts because they're so much easier to get off. And then I need to take off the drop links that have failed, and in order to do that, underneath here you can see that there's a nut and a thread with a hex head in. I've actually bushed that out with another nut to make it easier to get at. So this is going to take me about 10 minutes to get this off, and then we'll look at the damage. Well, because I've taken this off so many times now, it's taken me only 7 minutes to get it off the car, and there's already some strange things to look at. Looking at this drop link here, we can see how compressed this joint is, and I can already see that this has pulled off of its collar. And the other thing is that it's as loose as anything, and the reason for that is there's nothing to do it up with. There's no spanner flat on it to do it up tight. If we go to the one on the other side, you can see the amount of corrosion there. Well, this has only been on this car about a week. This is really, really poor. The other thing of interest is I've noted, and I only found this out the other day, that this anti-roll bar should have a steel collar here, and it should have one just here. And they're missing, which meant that the bar was able to oscillate between the bushes. So I've put the Jubilee clips on there to stop that movement, to see if that actually was the problem. The other trick I tried, I got from the Jaguar forum, is that somebody said if you put a 5-pence coin in the back of it, it will tighten it up so that you don't get the noise. Well, I'm going to put the 5-pence coin back in, but I'm not actually convinced that does anything. We'll soon see. can just about get this 17mm spanner on here and crunch this up tight, which you couldn't do with the other one. So bearing in mind that this has got to come round to this position, I'm going to move that slowly round. That hangs about there, so that's how it's supposed to be, and now it's nice and tight and it can't move out. I'll do the other side now. Okay, so the new drop links are back on. One thing I have noticed is that this plastic insert on this one is white. The other one, for some reason, is black. Now, as far as I can see, these things aren't handed. They came out of different packets, so they must be from a different batch. I hope this isn't going to have any effect on it when it's actually on the car. I'm going to put it all back together now. I'm going to put my 5p back in, and I'm just going to hold it in with a blob of copperies like that, and that'll hold it in place while I fight it all back into position. That will take me more than 10 minutes because for some reason they're really much more difficult to get back in than they should be. Okay, well, I've got the bar back in. This is a bit of a hint and a tip really that I've found from doing this now for about the 5th time. If you put in the drop links first, you can just see the new nut there. Pack a couple of washers in there so that when you come to do it up, it's much easier to do it up. When you put the bolts into the clamp, put the one that's to the rear of the car in first, just a couple of threads, enough so that it can't pull itself back out, and then put the rear one back in, and then get them all so they're half loose, and then do up the clamp ones first, and then tighten down the nuts underneath. Remember, you need to put an Allen key in the middle of that to stop it turning. You can't just stick a socket on it, otherwise you'll twist the rubbers off. And then hopefully that's job done. Well, what should have been a 10 or 15 minute job has turned into a hour-long saga. One of the problems with the new drop links, which are now on the car, is that where the Allen key goes in the end of this threaded portion, it is so shallow that you could hardly get the end in, and it wasn't very well made, so I ended up having to hammer the Allen key in. Now, I managed to get it in, but then I found that the nuts that came with it, which are these sprung nuts with the flanges on, they're so difficult to turn up that it kept rounding. So what I've actually done is I've used the nylock nuts that came with the other ones, and I've drilled through the middle of one of them and used it as a sleeve, so I only have to do the other one up half the distance that I had to before. So I'm now hoping that this problem fixed, so it's time to get it off the stands and off down the road. Time for a test flight. Oh, something else is banging now. This is getting to be to the point of despair now because every part's been changed, yet I've still got a noise coming out the back of the car. Seems to have shifted its emphasis. It seems to be in the middle of the car now.